Hey guys, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with another video. And again, I'm going to apologize a little bit for this video as you're going to see me, look in different directions of screens and all that. Um, so sorry this isn't just a typical, I'm looking at the camera because honestly I have notes I need to review as I go over this. So, and the only reason I'm not doing a screen capture of this is I'll be looking at, some sensitive info of mine that I don't want to show on screen. So, apologize in advance. Really, the main thrust of this video is, if you see the title, it's another, basically, for lack of a better term, YouTube complaint video. And I'm going to see just how much the algorithms, YouTube's algorithms, hate this, right? Because it's going to be somewhat anti-YouTube, but I'm going to make sure that I don't use any swear words in this intentionally. Even though I feel they would be appropriate in a few places, I'm not going to say anything too much because I want to see just how far this goes, right? Just how plain vanilla you can make something and maybe still have it trigger this. And of course, what I'm talking about is the advertiser friendly content guidelines, because I recently had some videos. I got an email because YouTube just recently updated the algorithm where they marked some videos not suitable for all advertisers, right? So I decided to look at my videos and see which ones fell under this. Because I make a range of videos. Some of my videos are, I'd say the majority of them are not really controversial in nature. Sometimes they are, because this channel, I kind of focus on a whole lot of different things. Yes, audio and music is my main focus, but I do sometimes talk about other things. So, on to the next screen. I'm going to tell you which one of my videos don't meet standards for this, right? What's funny is my most recent video, What Music is Remembered for the Long Haul. That's the video I uploaded before this one about a week ago. Is one that says not suitable for all advertisers. To me, that is a completely non-offensive, non-controversial video. That's a pretty vanilla topic, right? Like, what music is remembered in 100 years? I don't see how that's even mildly controversial or mildly not appropriate for advertising content. There's no copyrighted material in it. I don't say any inflammatory things. I maybe joke around a little bit about crappy music, like, oh, I said a bad word. Maybe I'll get flagged for that. Who knows? Anyway, Justin Bieber. I think I made a little bit of fun of Justin Bieber and Britney Spears or something. Just basically artists that I think are pretty terrible. But again, it was not. I don't feel that video was the least bit controversial, but apparently YouTube's algorithm didn't like it. My next two are, well, I'm sorry, my next three are definitely controversial, at least according by YouTube standards. And what's funny is Google. I forgot to mention. Yeah, Google, of course, owns YouTube. Everybody knows this. Google generally, their political leanings, it's pretty obvious they're on the extreme liberal SJW side of the spectrum. I mean, that's just duh. That's that's Google's known bias, right? Now, what's funny is if you've watched any of my political videos at all, obviously I'm basically a quote lefty myself for the most part. But apparently, since I don't perfectly fit into, I don't alter, or I'm sorry, I don't, you know, follow the rigidity of the, worshiping at the altar of the left. Maybe I'm just not, PC enough. Because one thing I talked about, or one video, and I can see why this one did, I said the next one is why Bernie Sanders is right about moving past identity politics. I did that one shortly after the election because there were some articles written about Bernie Sanders that I thought were kind of stupid. And I mentioned why in the video. And I did say, to me, they were pretty mainstream views and non-controversial. What I said, I didn't say anything controversial. It was very mainstream, middle of the road stuff because I rewatched the video. Now I did say cuss words. Maybe that's what triggered it. But it was definitely not controversial. But it was most certainly to the hilariously. I'm a huge Bernie Sanders supporter, but hilariously, I guess some aspects of what I say are to the right of Google's policies. Right? Then I made another one that was not suitable for all advertisers is my thoughts on the 2016 election. The elites got what they deserved. Okay. I'm sure that I didn't bother rewatching that one of mine, but I'm sure that's, I probably really take to task the Democratic establishment and that and bash them. So, yeah. Then there's another one that I did, and I basically did, this was before the election, back in early July, when somebody actually kind of made a pathetic attempt at Donald Trump. And I called that out because I was against that. And I also am against zealots of any type. I don't like zealots. I think zealots are dangerous and close-minded. Period. Even if I agree with them. The next one, now this one's been remonetized, apparently. And that was, is rock dead? Right? Speculated whether rock and roll would be dead or not. The next one has the F word in the title. So I can see, okay, that one I actually kind of agree with. The next one was another controversial subject where I talked, basically I was kind of a misanthrope and spoke very poorly of humanity. My next one, again, another completely non-controversial subject. My thoughts on good enough audio. Somehow, and then I had an album review. Then I had another one where I talked about the Confederate flag. So yeah, maybe that's a little bit. And then some more album reviews, right? So that's basically that's the bulk of them. There are a couple more, but they're really whatever. So I was gonna say, okay, fine. I'm going to now maybe request a review of these videos. So I went to, the FAQ. I read up on it, and they're only going to review them if they're only able to review videos, I guess because maybe a person does this, I don't know, with at least 1,000 views in the past 7 days. Now, I get that if a person actually has to watch it. I kind of get that because my channel is absolutely teeny tiny, right? And the only reason I run ads on this, on my videos, truthfully, is because if I can make a small amount of money, and it's really small, the amount of money I've made from this, it's definitely not significant. And that's another topic that I'll actually get to a little later in the video. That's great because it's nice to actually have a hobby that pays you back a little bit rather than you just put all your money into, right? It's nice to actually get something back for a change. So that's why I'm running ads on this, because it's like, to me, it's like if I spend this much time making these videos, I might as well get something small back for it. And honestly, but that's not the main reason I make these videos. The main reason I make these videos is for fun. Obviously, I enjoy it. And secondly, interacting with people about different things and having, different perspectives shared, yada yada yada. That's the main draw of it. And then the secondary, yet a little tiny bit of extra money is nice. But basically, if I had to, now if YouTube was my job, right, how I actually made money, I can't imagine doing that because of the fact that they constantly pull the rug out from underneath people. And in a way, I would almost say that what they're doing is, for lack of a better term, soft censorship. Okay? Because there are a lot of people out there, a lot of YouTubers who primarily earn their money from YouTube, who talk about controversial things that may run afoul of some of YouTube's advertiser policies, right? Couple that spring to mind is uh, whether you like these people or not. I find them funny sometimes and somewhat amusing and entertaining. Bearing is one. Sargon of Akkad's another one. TJ Kirk, aka the Amazing Atheist, is another one. Who else? Secular Talk, etc., etc., etc. Now, those people primarily make their money through YouTube. That's quote their livelihood, right? It's not just a hobby for them. Now they have other income streams like Patreon and all that. I've never ever even considered starting a Patreon for myself because honestly, this is a hobby. Um, that's what it is. I don't really view this as an income or a job. Now, if I did, would I put my digital hand out? Yeah, probably. But let's be honest, this is a very tiny amateur operation where basically I sit in my easy chair most of the time and just talk about things or share things on the screen or whatever. It's certainly not something that people need to throw a bunch of money at me for me to do, right? So, but those YouTubers I just mentioned, uh, you know, hell, Secular Talk has a staff. They pay several people, right? They're basically kind of like a news organization, part of TYT. Now, what you think of them in general, you know, um, whatever. But there's that, but Sargon, TJ, Bearing, all that, they do much better video editing than I do. They put a lot more time into their videos than I put into mine. They do tons of research on it. They generally will write a script, video edit, really good video editing, yada 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 yada. They pour a lot more time into it than I do. So honestly, I feel they deserve to be compensated more than I am because, well, they put more effort into it than I do. But I'm really getting off the rails here. And now I'm going to talk about advertiser-friendly content guidelines, right? Okay, so basically, content that is not eligible for advertising, controversial issues and sensitive events, video content that features or focuses on sensitive topics or events, including but not limited to war, political conflicts, terrorism or extremism, death and tragedies, sexual abuse, even if graphic imagery is not shown, is generally not eligible for ads. For example, videos about recent tragedy. tragedies, even if presented for news or documentary purposes, may not be eligible for advertising given the subject matter. Drugs, harmful or dangerous act, hateful content, inappropriate language. So, inappropriate use of family entertainment characters, incendiary, blah, 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 right? So that gives, obviously, that gives YouTube a ton of leeway, right, as far as what is and isn't eligible for advertising content. And if this is how you make your money, right, let's pretend this is how you make your money. You are a lot less likely to, and assuming you don't have secondary income streams, right? You are a lot less likely to really speak your mind with those restrictions in place. It's not direct censorship, but it's, for lack of a better term, it kind of mutes you a little bit if this is how you make your money. So, I mean, really, the question is, do we want the only people on YouTube to really speak their minds? Do we want a professional class of people that do this for a living, that spend a lot of time researching it, yada, yada, yada? We just want yahoos like me, right? Sitting in their easy chairs, who do this in their spare time, who don't put nearly as much thought and research into it as the people who do it for a living. Personally, I'm glad that there are people who actually dedicate their lives to this, because it improves thought and discourse, I think, in the world. I think it definitely elevates discussion, whereas if it's just people like me, yeah, I have an opinion, but, my day-to-day life does not revolve around analyzing current events, thinking of ways to present them in a digestible manner to every man. That's not my life, and I'm glad that there are people out there who do it, for I think it benefits us. But again, if these restrictions are in place, it threatens people like that. Just, again, this is all just my opinion, right? Now, this is a kind of just bonus content here, this next part. If you guys are curious as to what my most viewed videos ever are, I'm going to go over with them. Looks like my most viewed video of all time is why have an MP3 player in the age of the smartphone? Right? Can audio cables make a difference and then an album review of Metallica, Hardwired to Self-Destruct. Whatever. So those are all like my most viewed videos ever. Yeehaw, right? And there are more, but I just thought I'd talk about the top 3 because it's fun to do that. And dealing with YouTube support isn't the greatest experience ever. We're circling back to money now. I got a payment. I'm not going to say how much, because I guess that's probably a violation or whatever. Back in July, right? Now, I have, so I was like, okay, I want to put all of my AdSense stuff, because I have another YouTube channel that is completely unrelated to this one, okay? And it's not, and it's actually my older one, but it's completely non-related to this. And I had an AdSense account on that, and I wanted to, kind of move this channel, the Bald and Metal Nerd channel, I wanted to put on the same AdSense with the other one. And, that way I would get paid for both channels through the same AdSense. The end, right? And I hadn't done this, prior to July, right? So I do it, and I'm looking at, like my lifetime earnings or whatever, which, again, are low, And, I'm emailing support like, hey, how do I get paid for my Bald Metal Nerd channel? And they're going back and forth with me, like, not really answering my question. They're saying all this indirect stuff that basically is telling me why I'm not getting the money, right? And after, like, 10, 15 emails at least, right? Finally, they're like, no, look, they finally gave me a helpful suggestion. Hey, look at your history, see what's happened. So I looked over my history of payments from my AdSense account, and they actually added up to the lifetime revenue for both channels. So I was like, oh, okay, so I actually have gotten paid for everything. And then I emailed them back like, okay, thank you very much. That was very helpful. Can you tell me how that happened? Because I never had it on the other AdSense account prior to, July, and the other payments had come in much earlier than that. So I don't even know how that's possible. And they respond back with some gobbledygook. And honestly, at that point, I just kind of gave up. Like, all right, whatever. I do appreciate YouTube actually finally explaining it and me reviewing it and finding, okay, it is happening. But it was a huge pain in the butt to get there. So, anyway, I know this video went on for a bit and went kind of a bunch of different places and is a little bit outside the normal scope of what I talk about. But hey, YouTube complaint videos are popular, so I thought I'd throw this one in. Anyway, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed this, thumbs up. If you hated it, thumbs down. Share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.